Nama Om Vishnupada Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Saminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Pracha Nirvisesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Abhonitananda Sri Adaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Adaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Om. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhangsa Paripurajagacharya Ashtatara Shatasi Simasila Bhaichana Vrinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBD Founder Acharya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Das Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Se Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Shyamakunda Dham Ki Jai. Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Dham Ki Jai. Ananta Guru Vaishnava Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Pathkari Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sotakari Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sisi Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishnu Budale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samiti Namini Namaste Shashati Vegaravani Pachani Nivishesha Shunavadi Paschata Desha Tarini Vanchakalpatar Vishiki Pasindhavachapati Dhanam Pavani Bhavashya Pavana Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhus and mothers. I know it's a long day. We already had a 3-hour classes and I forgot to send the post on time, but somehow or other we are here by the mercy. So we'll continue on the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 18. We are going to read text 18 just to catch up the refreshment of this. If anybody would like to read, you can. So the 7th chapter, as we repeat this, that discuss 3 wonderful points. One is knowledge of Krishna. Knowledge of Krishna. And then the process of attaining that knowledge and what will be the result after attaining the knowledge. So knowledge of Krishna, the process of attaining the knowledge, and the end result of attaining the knowledge. So this is what summarized the entire chapter. And 15, 16, we discuss just to catch what we covered so far, just to refresh our memory. 15, 16, we discussed about 4 kinds of notorious, you can say, not meritorious, instead notorious, atheists who do not surrender. And 4 kinds of pious who comes to God. So that we discussed. Then 17 and 18, last week we discussed 17. That explains that amongst them, those who acquire knowledge and live by the knowledge, they are very advanced. Krishna says they are superior. Then today we're going to discuss further about knowledge. Generally, we think like knowledge is an option. Knowledge is not an option. Actually, to perform pure bhakti, we have to have a full conscious why we are doing this bhakti. So we are going to begin with text 18. Would anybody like to read text 18? No. Okay. So we are going to read text 18. Udara sarve evaite geni tu atmaiva me matam astitaha sahi juktatma mam eva anu uttamam gatim. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider verily to dwell in me. This is very powerful conclusion of being engaged in my transcendental service, he attains me. So previous verse, before we read the purport, just wanted to catch with this. Previous verse, Krishna says, out of those four types of people comes. I mean, amongst ourselves, we can see sometimes people comes to Krishna out of their needs. They want supply from the God, that their material resources cannot supply what they need, like poverty or sickness or inquisitiveness, or wants to learn in spiritual life. For their need, they're not coming to serve, but for their need, they approach. So Krishna says, out of those four, one who is in full knowledge, 2 things, full knowledge and serving. Serving could be chanting Hare Krishna or chanting and practical some service. One who does that, he's the best. And he gives a very, I would say, esoteric, that I'm very dear to him and he's dear to me. So on that principle, now Krishna, and then we discuss also like how if we only try to do service without understanding why we do things we do, what is the purpose behind it. Prabhupada talks about Madhalila 25.278, Mother Sri Ishopanishad read, she's here, that will fall down if we do not read those books and understand that. I hope you remember that. And then we also discuss that mechanical chanting will not produce the result we are looking for. So it has to be understood through discussion, understanding the knowledge. In a sense, it has to illuminate our hearts in order to dive into deeper. Also, we discuss about, is knowledge, acquiring knowledge is making us prouder or wiser? Of course, wiser for a devotee. Hopefully, it's not prouder. Prouder in a sense, if we do not apply in our day-to-day life in bhakti, then it will remain prouder. And then we discuss about today's verse, that Krishna says, all these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous soul. Udara sarve eveti. Udara. They are all liberal. Very magnanimous, Prabhupada put that. But he who is situated in knowledge of me, means even they are sometime here, sometime not there, sometime they are chanting, or even they are chanting, serving something, but they are not interested to understand who they are, what is their relationship with Krishna, like that. Then Krishna says that they are also magnanimous, good soul, good devotee, but he who is situated in knowledge means constantly thinking, constantly meditating on Krishna's beauty, Krishna's magnanimity, Krishna's kindness, and absorbing it. And then Krishna says that he dwells in me, and being engaged in my transcendental service, he will attain me. So he will attain Krishna. So by doing some service and hearing about Krishna, if it increases our absorption, then Krishna says we will definitely get him. I mean, he will reveal to himself to us. Okay. Now we are going to read the purport. Anyone would like to read the purport? Mother Sri Ishopanishad or Mother Neha or whoever has a book. If you have a book, this is Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, text 18.
I'm still trying to get to it. Haribol.
Okay. Nice to hear from you, Mother.
Jai Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Nice to be here. Nice to be in your association. Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So chapter 7, text 18.
Okay. Let's see. Database.
You can read the translation again one more time. It's wonderful.
What canto are we reading? I'm sorry. What canto are we in?
Chapter, Bhagavad Gita chapters.
Oh, we're in the
7.
Bhagavad chapter 7. Oh, I'm so sorry. And what's the text again?
18.
18. All righty.
1,
Here
8.
I go. 18. Okay. All righty. Uddara sarva evate. Ganitiv avmave me matam. Astitaha sahi yuktatma. Mamevanutamam gatim. Translation: all these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. Purport?
Yeah.
Prabhupada says, it is not that devotees who are less complete in knowledge are not dear to the Lord. The Lord says that all are magnanimous because anyone who comes to the Lord for any purpose is called a Mahatma or great soul. The devotees who want some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord because there is an exchange of affection. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit. And when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. But the devotee in full knowledge is considered to be very dear to the Lord because his only purpose is to serve the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. Such a devotee cannot live a second without contacting or serving the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is very fond of his devotee and cannot be separated from him. In Srimad Bhagavatam 9:468, the Lord says, Sadhavo hirdayam mayam, sadhunam hirdayam tiv aham, maranayate nat janati, naham tebio managapi. The devotees are always in my heart, and I am always in the hearts of the devotees. The devotee does not know anything beyond me, and I also cannot forget the devotee. There is a very intimate relationship between me and the pure devotees. Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch, and therefore they are very much dear to me.
Interesting.
Jai.
Is there a, are you reading from a book or from a,
I'm reading from the database.
okay, because the last verse
Uh-huh.
changed, but it's okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah, there must
Okay.
be some reason. I'm not sure. I'll find out.
Okay. So what does the last verse say with you?
In the same reference of Ambarish Maharaj, but is the verse says that Aham Bhakta Paradhina ye Shatantri Vaddija. Now the verse you quoted that comes after that, but it's okay. There must be some reason. I have to hear the Prabhupada's voice on that and see.
Also, I want to hear your pronunciation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mata. So this is a wonderful verse, isn't the purport is so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what if we look at the word to word. Now Krishna is saying here, Udara Sarve Evete. Actually, Sri Krishna is saying not even others are good. Sri Krishna is saying very interesting word, Udara.
Mm.
The word Udara means charitable. You can say liberal.
Mm.
Many words can be. Mahaprabhu also used that word, Udara Mahati, Sarvattama Buddhi. He said that. So why is the word charitable is used here? That's the question. So I found Ramanujacharya explains in his commentary over that the Lord is so hungry for devotion. For example, if we are desperate for something and somebody gives something, then we will say, you are very kind. We generally do. You are so charitable. So the Lord is also hungry for devotion, that if somebody comes and offers devotion to him, even if the devotion is mixed or say motivated, it does not matter. I'm so happy that you are offering your devotion to me. And he says, you are so charitable, Udara. Actually, this is large heartedness, you can say, of Lord. That he calls these devotees large-hearted.
Mm-hmm.
They're mixed devotees, but he calls them Sarve Evaite. All the four are Udara. The four types of people come. Because when they are in trouble, instead of going to somewhere else, they come to Sri Krishna. But he's saying, Genitu Atmaiva me matam. Next line. Means Atmaiva, but the Gyanis are just like me. Atmaiva, Atma Eva. It is very deep glorification, just like me. Astita Sahi Juktatma. Astita. Such a person situated in me, understand that I am the supreme goal. Mam eva anuttamam gatim. Attain me, understand me to be the supreme goal and attain me. The category of people has not understood Krishna to be the supreme goal. They have their own goals of removing distress, gaining wealth, like that. But either way, all of them will come to Krishna eventually. That will be described in the next verse. But important point over here is that Krishna mentioned here, Sahi Juktatma. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary explained that Sri Krishna tells the Jnani are equal to me. But Krishna talks about the pure devotee. When he described to Uddhava in Srimad Bhagavatam that actually pure devotees are more dear to me than myself. So Jnani as dear as me, but Krishna says pure devotees are more dear to me than myself. So we can see here Sri Krishna is slowly revealing his heart about how he loves those who choose to love him. This is the point. Krishna is revealing how Krishna loves those who choose to love him. Now, this word udara, it's very interesting. And Krishna loves us so much that he considers us charitable. And if we approach him for our own purposes with just a little devotion, I need some help. Maybe I'm sickness or money, or even though some material motivation is there. But approaching him, Krishna consider we are charitable, liberal, good soul, as Prabhupada mentioned, magnanimous. So I was thinking to take away from this that when we face problem beyond our power to solve, we often seek Krishna's help, isn't? Almost all devotees, they pray. And Bhagavad Gita, this previous two sloka, indicate that most people approach Krishna to get something. Be it money or relief from distress. The distress and the wealth seeker are two of the four kinds of prospective devotees. The other two being curious and the knowledgeable. Now, among them, next verse, if you remember, last week we discussed, the best are knowledgeable, one who understands this relationship, Krishna's position, our position. Knowledgeable, because they have knowledge, will inspire them. That knowledge will inspire them towards one-pointed devotion. Now, why are they the best? If you wonder why, because they approach Krishna not for what he provides, but for who he is. This is the key point. They know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even devotees sometimes praise for material things, but it's all right. Because they approach Krishna not for what he provides, but for who he is. So, here we see explained that devotee is udar, means he understands the Bhagavad Gita is explaining Krishna is the topmost reality. He's all attractive, all loving, supreme person. The ultimate fulfillment is found in loving, connecting with him, and living in his sweet presence. Now, because the devotion, bhakti, the knowledgeable does not depend on getting something. It stays sublimely steady. I mean, a lot of you can agree with right now that not necessarily you pray for getting something from Krishna, but you have a good understanding and you actually depend on that awareness. Yes, He is Supreme Lord. He is our ultimate object of love. You have clear understanding that. Because the devotion does not, devotion of knowledgeable does not depend on getting something. It stays sublimely steady in the heart, isn't? I mean, if you really deeply think, you'll agree. In contrast, when we approach Krishna to get something, if we get it, we also thank him. I saw that devotee who got better. I mean, even Dibanga Prabhu, anyway, I don't have to mention the name. His daughter was sick and we prayed in the temple and he was really thanking. I said, what are you doing in front of deity so long? He said, I'm just thanking him. He's so kind to me, to my family and everyone. So it's a fact. And we move on with our life, turning to him again, only in future times of need. If we don't get that thing, we give up our devotional service or doubt arises, considering it unfruitful. So why may we not get what we seek? That's my question. Does Krishna not care for our needs? Of course he does. He is our greatest well-wisher. I remember 5.29, we discussed 2 days on that verse. Bhoktaram Jagatapasam Sarvaluko Mahesharam. I'm sure some of you remember that. But he provides as per his plan. That is the point. Which often varies from our plan. Our plan often centers on our material gratification, whereas Krishna's plan centers on our spiritual evolution. This is very important to remember. And that is why if we turn to him simply for getting something, we may end up of disappointment. Still, if we study Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that Krishna's presence is far more enriching than his presence. And therefore, whether we get worldly things or not, we wholeheartedly connect with Krishna. Just to bask in his soothing, strengthening, sanctifying presence. So this is my takeaway from this verse. Okay, we have a time. We can go one more verse. Who else would like to read?
May I, Prabhu?
Yes. Who is this? Who is reading?
Oh, this is Aruni.
Oh, your name is 108. That's also auspicious number. It's okay.
Oh,
Thank you,
actually,
Mother.
it's the password. It comes in. I don't know why. Okay.
Okay, that's
Sorry.
all right, Mother Arun. We know you. You are wonderful, Mother.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvam eti samahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. The purport, the living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism But when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders to him. At such a time, one can understand that Lord Sri Krishna's mercy is everything, that he is the cause of all causes, and that this material manifestation is not independent from him. He realizes the material world to be a perverted reflection of spiritual variegatedness and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Thus, he thinks of everything in relation to Vasudev or Sri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudev precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna as the highest goal. Such surrendered great souls are very rare. This verse is very nicely explained in the 3rd chapter, verses 14 and 15 of Svetashvatar Upanishad. Should I read more, Prabhuji?
Yeah, there's one more paragraph, I think.
Okay. Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapa Sabhumim Vishwato Vrata Tyatishat Dasangulam Purusha Evadam Sarvam Yadbhutam Yatcha Bhavyam Uttam Yeshano Yad Amnena Triyohati. Lord Vishnu has thousands of heads, thousands of eyes, and thousands of feet. Entirely encompassing the whole universe, he still extends beyond it by 10 fingers' breadth. He is, in fact, this entire universe. He is all that was and all that will be. He is the Lord of immortality and of all that is nourished by food. In the Chandogya Upanishad, it is said, 15:1-15, it is said, Nave vacho na chakshum shi na shrotrani na manam siti achakshate prana iti eva chakshate prano hi evaitani sarvani bhavanti. In the body of a living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to think is the prime factor. It is the life air which is the center of all activities. Similarly, Lord Vasudev, or the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, is the prime entity in everything. And because Vasudev is all-pervading and everything is Vasudev, the devotee surrenders in full knowledge. It's from Bhagavad Gita 7:17 and 11.40. Hari Bol.
Very good. Thank you, Mother. So, just to catch up with this 19, Krishna talks previous two verses as we are discussing that about categories of people who start worshipping Krishna. Eventually, they surrender to Krishna. And Krishna did use those words like bhajante, bhajante, the progression moves onward. But in this verse, it's very direct that it comes to prapaddate. If you look at that first line, bahunam janmanam ante gyana van ma prapaddate. So there comes one pointed in devotional service to the Supreme Lord. How is this? Well, bahunam janmanam ante, after many lifetimes. Now, some of you may think like, oh my God, after many life I have to go. How do you know you didn't pass all these hundreds of life? It may appear like, well, this is the first life in ISKCON. Yeah, it may appear. But Prabhupada also mentioned to some of his disciples, like for an example, Balavanta Prabhu, who lives here, Prabhupada said, so you were in Benares last life, previous life. You are practicing spiritual life. When one devotee complained about they cannot tolerate this too hot, he said, because you are Brahmana. Brahmana can tolerate the mind, but the physical is difficult. But the Kshatriya, they can tolerate the physical pain, but the mind, they get agitated easily. So anyway, the point is that Prabhupada did mention many of the devotees already practicing these many lives. But then he also told Bhagavat Maharaj, he was serving Prabhupada directly. He said, no, Bhagavat Maharaj, Bhagavat Prabhu at that time, he told Prabhupada that he had a dream of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Prabhupada said, it's possible that you had a dream of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that maybe you were with Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one time, but don't make it any more prolonged. Stop everything now and be full Krishna consciousness and get out. So it looks like many devotees could be many years, many lives, also hovering here, there. Now, Krishna says in this verse, Gyanavan. So after many life, what happened? When the person become Gyanavan, then Mam Prapaddate, then they surrender to me. What is their understanding in surrendering to me? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. They understand that Lord Vasudeva is everything. There is no reality higher than Vasudeva. And then Krishna says, Samahatma, such great soul, Sudurlabha, extremely rare. Now here Sri Krishna is talking about progression, you can say, from one level of reality to higher level of reality. So Bahunam Janmanamante, after many, many lifetimes, what is he referring to? I'm sure most of you, if you really think, like certain thing naturally attracted to you in ISKCON or Krishna consciousness, activities or holy name or the people or the books or the knowledge, you felt natural attraction, and you will see. So Krishna here is referring to the 4 category of people from 16 previous sloka. Those are the people who start doing bhajante. Now, bhajante to prapaddate is a progression from 16 to 19, these 4 verses. 16, 17, 18, 19, yeah, 4 verses, which can take several lifetimes, depending on the intensity of the practice. And there may be many people who do bhakti as a casual activity within the journey of their life. But beyond that, bhakti can be performed much more seriously, intensely, and single-pointed level. So that is the kind of bhakti which Sri Krishna is talking over here. When he talks about prapaddate, so Bahunam Janmanam Ante, so after many lifetimes, one moves from bhajate to prapaddate. Gyanavan Mam Prapaddate. So now Sri Krishna has talked about 4 types of people. Artho, Jigyasu, Artharthi, Gyani. All 4 are, they are Sukriti, means meritorious. Pious credit. What is the pious credit referring to? They actually refer to spiritual pious credit, in the sense that they have done some kind of bhakti-related activities. Not directly doing bhakti as knowing bhakti. Some like Agyata Sukriti, you heard about Agyata Sukriti, means unknowingly done pious devotional activity. Just like the dog, Jiva Goswami Pad writes, the dog got arrow in the body, and out of pain, he was just going crazy. And there was an old Vishnu temple, and because he is doing parikrama, but he's not thinking he's doing parikrama, but he got so much pious credit unknown to him. Just like that homeless guy giving, brought toilet paper, and Prabhupada noticed in New York, he was giving class. He noticed that this homeless guy wanted to use the restroom, but there was no toilet paper. He went outside and he bought some toilet paper, few, not just one, few bundle, and put it in the bathroom. And Prabhupada gave a credit to it that. He mentioned that few times. He said, this man doesn't know that he actually started his spiritual journey just by serving little bit in the temple where devotee is going to use, or, even with the toilet paper. So Prabhupada add that. Giving some charity, like people give some donation, lot, every where in this world, wherever Hare Krishna temple, people comes and give charity, or devotee goes out and collects some donation. So they are not doing consciously. They're just thinking, I'll get some material benefit. But it is devotional service. They do it without its conscious understanding. That's my point. But they somehow engage and connect with Krishna. That is how Sukriti helps them. And that Sukriti brings them to Krishna. And they start serving Krishna. They start bhajante. That's why that word is there, bhajante. After many lifetimes, that they understand something because of which they did not serve Krishna earlier and connected to Krishna occasionally. Now, when they understand this, they start serving Krishna constantly. So Gyanavan, in other words, if you see in the temple somebody is very steady in his or her service, means they have a good understanding. So Gyanavan mam prapaddate. What is the conception that makes them understand prapaddate, surrender? That word Vasudev. They understood that Krishna is everything. So that's why Krishna considered them Mahatma, and they are rare. Great soul are extremely rare. Durlabha is very rare. Sudurlabha is extremely rare. Now, it is interesting. Sri Krishna is saying that they understand that Vasudev is everything. That means they understand there is no reality beyond Vasudev. And if somebody thinks that that could be impersonalist or not a devotee, Brahmavadis. What Sri Krishna has told in 7.7 previous we read, Matta paratara nannat, that there is no higher truth than me. That means if somebody understood, I mean, Prabhus and mothers, you ask yourself, did you really accept? Yes, there is no higher truth than Krishna. Then you are that great soul. Well, out of humility, you may not take that way or think that way, but it is. So they understand that there is no reality higher than Sri Krishna. Matta paratara nanna. If you look at that verse 7.7, Krishna said this, that there is no higher, there is no equal or above than him. And once we contemplate on that, we surrender, we consciously. What happens? Sarvamiti. When they surrender like this, they become purified. Now, proportion to our surrender, we get purification. They become elevated. Gradually, they become completely fixed in the worship of Krishna. That is prapaddate. It is interesting that although they understand Vasudev to be Sarvam, That is not pantheistic, which means everything is God. So although they understand that Vasudeva is everything, they do not surrender to everything. They surrender to Vasudeva. This is a very fine point to be meditating. That here the verse says, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva is everything. But Vasudeva is everything doesn't mean they surrender to everything. They surrender to Vasudeva. So Vasudeva Sarvamiti means God is everything, but everything is not Vasudeva. Vasudeva has manifest everywhere. That is true. He is accessible everywhere. But it does not mean that everything is Vasudeva. That's why Prabhupada in one lecture he said, Krishna and Krishnas, these two things, not same. Vasudeva has his own self-existence, self-glory in the spiritual world, where he manifests his transcendental and eternal personality. So they don't surrender to everything, but they surrender to Vasudeva. And I like that idea that Prabhupada gave that example when that person was kind of challenging Prabhupada, where material nature is Krishna's also. Why can't we just dwell in material nature? Then Prabhupada says, that person was a beautiful lady, obviously. So Prabhupada said, just like you are a beautiful lady, but you also pass stool, which is not beautiful, which is ugly. So Prabhupada made it very clear that we have to focus on Krishna, not everything Krishna's energy. I mean, material nature is Krishna's energy. All the evil, devil, all this horrible attitude, exploitation in this world, abuse. You can say they're all Krishna's energy. Yes. But they're not, they're just like a stool, ugly, coming from the beautiful person. But you don't think of the beauty is gone because some dirty stool came out from there. No. So Krishna's different energy are different. When Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad, where is Vishnu? He said, with my Kharga, I'll kill you. Let us see if your God will come and protect you. Where is he? Everywhere. So Hiranyakashipu could not figure it out when Prahlad said he's everywhere. What do you mean everywhere? Is he in this pillar? So very specific. And Prahlad said, yes, Vishnu is everywhere. Is he also in this pillar? Because the pillar is also within everywhere. Now when Nishingadev emerges from the pillar, Prahlad does not offer obeisances to the pillar. He offers obeisances to Nishingadev. This is devotee understanding. Now, pillar can be worshipable object where Krishna came out, but that doesn't mean, when Krishna is here, you say, okay, whole world, bricks, the cement made the pillar, we should worship the cement and bricks. No, this is extreme misunderstanding. So Prahlad Maharaj prayed to Nishingadev, and so similar way, the pillar itself is not the ultimate object of worship. That's my point. Because it is connected with Krishna. So it is also become sacred. We are not, discarding that we should not worship the altar. But it is not in itself worshipable. Everything connected to Krishna. When we go to the altar, altar is also goodness, pure goodness. But we don't start worshipping every pillar and everything in the temple. No, we worship God in the altar. Krishna is standing there with Srimati Radharani. So Krishna has performed some pastimes in connection with that. Then that is sacred. That is worshipable. Although whatever is worshipable doesn't mean that it is ultimate object of worship. Worshipable also means that because of its connection with the absolute truth. It is also become sacred. So Vasudeva Sarvamiti, the person understand the Gyanavan means one who has complete understanding. He understands that Vasudeva is everything, but still he doesn't surrender to everything. Why I'm repeating this? This has to be very clear between Brahmavadi, between Mayavadi, between all other bodies versus us. We have a very clear understanding. So Krishna is telling over here significant truth that from the point to approaching him, to surrender him, it may take many lives. Of course, if one practice bhakti seriously, then Krishna says, what is that, 12.7? Teshamaham samudharata mrityu samsara sagara. Bhami na chirat partha meya vetsit chetasam. So Krishna will tell that aham samudra, I will lift such people out of material existence. Who are those people? If you think like, who are those people Krishna will lift, uplift him from this material world? Those are spiritualists who fix their mind on him, like you all. And not chirat, not after a long time. Bhakti can elevate us and take us rapidly out. Now, here we discuss these people who are not directly practicing bhakti, they are definitely approaching Krishna. And that's why this verse is saying, Bahunam Janmanamante. He's referring to people who start approaching him to the point completely surrendering to him. All of us, we are all either surrendering or going to start surrendering or completely surrendered. I don't know, only Krishna knows, each of you. So that progression is what is talked about here in this verse. Srila Prabhupada's purport, Prabhupada made it very clear. And that Mother Aruni read, Prabhupada quoted Purusha Sukta from Shetashvatar Upanishad. Sahasra Shishya Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishyato Vritta Attatishta Dasangulam Purusham Evedam Sarvam Jad Bhutam Jad Bhabvam. The Lord Vishnu has thousands of heads, thousands of eyes, and thousands of feet, entirely encompassing the whole universe. He still extends beyond it by 10-finger breadth. He is in fact this entire universe. He is all that was and all that will be. He is the Lord of immortality. All that is nourished by food. In Chandogya Upanishad also it says, Navai Vachu na Chakshumi. In the body of a living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to think is the prime factor. It is a life which is the center of all attractive or activities. Similarly, Lord Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the prime entity in everything. Other day I was mentioning that materialist looks at attractive things and get attracted. When devotee looks at attractive things, they get attracted to the source of that attractive things, not attractive things. Now, if somebody say, well, I'm still attracted to the attractive things of this world, then some of the material contamination is still there with us. Devotee means they see the source of that attractive things. Where is coming from? Krishna, most attractive. That is the very fine distinction between materialist vision versus spiritualist vision. Vasudev is all pervading. Everything is Vasudev. Devotees surrender in full knowledge to the person Vasudev, not everything. So when Prabhupada says, one understands that everything is Vasudev, I like the way Prabhupada said that sentence. So such universal vision of Vasudev, you can say, precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and as the highest goal, you can say. So what is this universal vision? One understands that the Supreme Lord is Sahasra Shisha Purusha. He has thousands of heads, legs, eyes, ears. Basically, the point is that universal form is all pervading. And this universal form is so great, so glorious, so great that his glory pervades everywhere and everything. How is that everything? That is described as Srila Prabhupada quoted in the next verse. Savei bacho no chakshmi no sutrani. These are very important words. Prabhupada didn't just randomly put it. I don't know how he was thinking, but it was very deeply thoughtful insert, I would say, to put in the purport like that. So in the body of a living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to think is the prime factor. What is it? It is the life, prana, which is the center of all activities. And prana comes from Sri Krishna. So that's what this verse explains. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Now after explaining, one progressively comes from worship of Krishna for some material motive to worship of Krishna with pure motive. I end here. It's 6:30. Anybody has any further? Uttamananda Prabhu, you have a raised hand. Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry, bro. I just wanted to ask you a quick question that when I chant, sometimes I chant in the machine, like counting machine, because of my, job related. So I don't have much time in the morning. So what is it really the same, like what mechanical chanting, the same or machine chanting, or can you explain a little bit about this, please?
Mechanical chanting in that sense, when I mentioned that in the beginning, that we're just doing as a rituals. I took a vow to my guru. I have to finish my 16 rounds. But we are talking about relationship. Relationship. I'm sure when you married, you wanted to find out about her everything. Not just getting her photo and get married. No, you wanted to talk to her, you want to know the nature. So ritual, it is not whether you're chanting on a japa beats or a clicker. It's question of your relationship with the Krishna in a name form. How you feel. Do you feel like I want to serve Prabhu? I have a lot of problem. I'm not a good soul. So many life I wasted my time. I'm begging to accept me. Please, you have sent your intimate devotee, Jayapataka Swami, who came and delivered me, gave me initiation, but my mind is still not. When you submitting yourself like this, these are not mechanical. These are real. You're regretting, repenting. This actually boosts you to pure name. Now, if I'm just doing it, but I'm not even thinking about it, what is this chanting actually? What is the attitude should I have? Then it is mechanical. Mechanical means you are not aware. so much. You're not putting your conscious effort. But I'm sure you are not calling for that because you are sincere devotee. You are already advancing, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I'm so sorry, but I don't know. And one more quick question, Prabhu.
Yeah.
So I was reading Bhagavad Gita. It says, Teshang Shatata Juktanang Bhajatang Piti Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Jagam Tang Yenuma Upadantite. So how does this intelligent by serving, if you he received from the serving, can you please explain about a little bit about this? My English is not so good, so please excuse me.
How Krishna gives the intelligence, you mean?
Yeah, because it says this Teshang Khatata Juktanang Bhajatang Piti Purvakam, because I read in Bengali Bhagavad Gita, you know. So and Dadami Buddhi Jugangtam Yenuma Upadantite. So I just wanted to a little bit explain about this verse, please. Also like intelligence by serving intelligence, how we get intelligence by serving him.
Yeah, this verse, one of the most important verse, also Prabhupada quotes, many devotee quotes, all the Acharya quotes, I would say. This is like a very significant verse. Has a many meaning. But if you look at the next verse, it will tell you how he is actually best giving that intelligence. Because when darkness comes, in our life, when we get confused, we are not very maybe doubtful. Am I advancing? Am I really sincerely chanting? Am I really? What's supposed to happen? We think like that. So Krishna says in that verse, next verse, Ahamajnana jam tamaha. So born of ignorance, whatever darkness is there, means I'm not clear. I'm not sure if I'm really chanting properly or advancing. Or how then Krishna is giving a very nice explanation. I mean, what he will do or he's doing. That by the torch of light of knowledge, I will destroy those misunderstanding or ignorance. Now, when darkness comes, we get confused. I don't know about you, but I do. And if it is really dark, like sometime even when I come from the temple to the house and there is no light outside here, I feel like to take my phone light if it is not there, because I have a little funny feeling if there is a snake, because I saw a snake one day. So, it's like something triggers. So, blinding means from the darkness, suddenly some nasty desire also comes in our heart. Like when I'm not chanting or with the devotees, some dirty desire may come. Let's look at in the Facebook what's going on. Some negative feeling comes up. Some doubt comes up. This troubles us. And sometimes it actually tormented many devotees. It drains them. Ultimately, I would say, Prabhu, honestly, it defeats them. So we don't know what is good for us, what is bad for us. We get like sometimes succumbed. We don't know what all are there in our heart. I really didn't want to go to Facebook, just like that Mataji told me in the class. But I was just looking for 10 minutes. And I know it was 9 o'clock. I have a few minutes before I go to sleep. By the time I said, okay, let's forget it. I'm going to sleep. It was 12:30. So how did 3.5 hours went? Don't know. So whatever comes within us, we think, oh, it is I want to explore a little bit. It's my feeling. Can't I just explore it like that? No, inside there is a soul and there is a mind, which has also so much contamination. So inside the body, when we have soul, we also have mind. It is not that whatever comes out of me is me. It could be something else, which is, like a mask, pretending. You cannot see who is who when somebody has a mask. We had an experience with the COVID. So for this, devotees don't have to make an extra effort. That is Krishna's point. That he will give intelligence, he will illuminate. Simply, if that devotee keep on practicing devotional service. Krishna says, Krishna will remove the darkness by igniting light, means knowledge, and we will it will be bright and right. So we will understand these material desires are not good for me. I will not indulge in it, and I'll cultivate devotional desire. Now, some people think the devotees are not intelligent. But Jiva Goswami Pad, Ramanuj Acharya, Madhacharya, these are extraordinary intelligent people. Devotee is supremely intelligent. You are from Bengal, there is a famous verse, Prabhupada even quote, Jai Krishna Bhaje Se Bora Chatu. So in these 4 verses, Krishna not only demonstrate how his supreme position, but he also demonstrate his benevolent disposition. What does that mean? It means he cares. Krishna, this is just the way I think that Krishna is saying that you just wanted to love me. I care so much that I will personally intervene in your life. I'll give you all the intelligence by which you will come back to me. So by demonstrating his love towards devotee, Krishna is making a call to us. Don't worry, just follow me. I'll provide you everything. That's what I understand. I hope that helps you something.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay. So Mother Gaurangi, Devi, you have a raised hand. You want to share something?
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. It's a question, actually. I wasn't really so clear when you were giving the analogy of how the senses are not the actual point, is the prana, right? That was an analogy for the fact that I guess our relationship with Krishna is our point, not maybe other things. I just want, can you just repeat, this point for me, because I wasn't really clear.
Okay. If you also, when you look at Bhagavad Gita, there is a place, I think it's 2.17. Yeah, 2.17, second chapter. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, Esha anuratma chetasa vedidabha prane panchada samvives. The soul is carried by prana, the life air. Actually, he activates everything. Like when you eat food and everything, I mean, I don't know how many of you really think how the food is digested, but it's happening. It's happening how, we don't know. So from that angle, it's the prana that, of course, purified prana means you will be able to see yourself. That's why it is important we eat prasadam, not any food. Because if these 5 types of air are not purified, then it is not possible we can see. But prana means it's directly connected with Krishna. Krishna gives life, to everything through the prana. That's what it means. Means the senses are actually, I mean, even if senses are, like say, I'm seeing you now through the Zoom, but actually I'm not seeing, the facility is given, that vision is given, so I could have access. So in that sense, prana is directly connected with Krishna. That's why.
Now you said you're not directly seeing me or whatever, any sense object. Instead, what is the case?
Like in the verse, in the purport, if you look at it, Prabhupada put those verses, Sahasra Shisha Purusha, that form is all pervading this universal form. So it's so great, so glorious, that his glory pervades everywhere, everything. There's two verses. Let me look at one where this idea comes. And you can see.
I mean, I was looking at 217, if that's what you mean.
No, this is 219. In the purport.
Okay.
Let me see.
I don't see anything in 219.
In the purport?
Yeah.
See, in the body, 5.1.15, I don't know which version you have. Prabhupada put that verse, Navai Bacho Na Chakshmi Na Sutrani Na. Can you see that verse?
You said 219, right?
No, 719. Today's verse.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm sorry. 217 is the prano, the life
Yeah.
air. Yeah, that's difference. Now I'm talking about 719.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
if you look at that verse,
uh-huh.
so Krishna is saying that that verse that Prabhupada put, that in the body of a living being, neither the power to speak, nor the power to see, nor the power to hear, nor the power to think is the prime factor. It is the life, prana, which is the center of all activity.
So yeah,
In
this statement is exactly what I need clarification on. So,
yeah. This is what I'm saying. The prana comes from Sri Krishna. Prana, like your body, prana carrying you, directly connected with Krishna.
yes.
Until you go back home, this prana is carrying you life after life from this body to that body. So that's why prana is the center of all activity.
Mm-hmm.
The prana comes from Krishna. We have to remember that. The breath of Mahavishnu. The prana is directly connected. Just like in heaven, if you go there, they don't have this kind of body. Now they have a prana. Prana is everywhere, all over the material world. Without prana, soul doesn't have a separate existence. So prana is carrying the soul. They're directly connected with the breath of Mahavishnu. It makes sense?
Yeah, so you're saying that, you were saying by mentioning the five senses and so on in the mind, you're saying that the power for their functioning does not originate with those senses. It originates with the prana that's coming from Krishna. That's your point.
Correct, correct. But we take credit. Well, I have a muscle, I can punch this guy or whatever, I have a good body, I can walk long. But actually it's all coming from prana, but we mistakenly taking the credit for this, that. So that's why, because it is connected with Krishna, directly comes from Krishna. That's why it is explained in that verse. I think the third line, you can see this. Na manam shiti achakshate prana iti. There it is. Prana iti eva chakshate prana hi evaitani sarvani bhavanti. Very nice.
Prabhu, when all the elements of the material world are broken down into, like, let's say 24 elements, right?
Yeah.
Or so, 24, 25, whatever.
Well, you can see five sense objects, 5 active senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and 5 material elements, earth, air, water. Earth and the smell, they're interrelated, but they're not same. So these are 20.
Yeah.
Then you have a subtle body, mind, intelligent, ego. Then you have a heart. Then you have a soul, super soul. So it can go up to 28.
But my point is, I don't, in that count, I don't see where is prana.
Yes, very good, very thoughtful question. In that, when we say the soul, how the soul is carried, that's the question. Soul is not walking. Soul is not just, jumping from this to that. Soul is carried.
Yeah.
Just like a car took me to Miami. But I say, I went to Miami.
Yes.
But the good sentence will be, car, I went to Miami in my car.
Right.
If I say I went to Miami, how did you go to Miami? I mean, the soul doesn't have, even if you say the body walked, well, that's my body took me to Miami, I can say. But the soul cannot just go to Miami.
Yes.
So that carrier is the prana. The moment Krishna entered into the heart of those conditioned soul, the prana activated and all the memory comes. What I did billion years back, or previous kalpa, previous day of Brahma, or previous life, or previous Brahma's life. Everything activates. But prana is the carrier of that. So prana is a carrier doesn't mean like a dead. Prana is actually activating the whole bodies, whole senses, everything.
You said it doesn't mean like what? What was that word?
It's not like a dead car. Like when you arrive in Miami, you leave the car, then you go.
Mm-hmm.
You go to somebody's house, then you are your own. You may even forget that you had the car because you are so happy there. No, it's not like that. Prana is actually constant companion. And that's why Prabhupada put that 2.17 I mentioned, that all these 5 air, especially the prana, has to be purified with Krishna consciousness. Then we are done.
Okay, you said it's not dead, but prana is material. So isn't it dead?
Prana is not material in that sense that it is a very subtle. It is connected with the breath of Mahavishnu.
I thought that I thought that anything other than the soul, even though it's subtle, is material and therefore dead.
No, not everything is material. Krishna, super soul, in the heart, there is a pure goodness is there. The heart could be contaminated, mixed sattva is there. Pure goodness is there, mixed sattva is there side by side, and the breath of the Mahavishnu sustain the whole creation is also there. The breath of the Mahavishnu is also eternal.
Okay, so in this counting that we do, I'm still asking, how come that is not one of the
Oh,
items?
because okay. Just like when we say the prana means like this. Like when he says super soul, he is also in the heart within 28, but he comes with the Suddha Sattva. He exists in that Suddha Sattva. But we don't say Suddha Sattva. But without Suddha Sattva, super soul would not be here. In other words, if there is facility in the heart, then super soul sits there. So Suddha Sattva is there. That's why that discussion was there. Prabhupada says that when when somebody had a heart transplant, says Krishna, super soul is sitting there in the heart. So when you say somebody had a heart transplant, how to understand? Prabhupada said that's not difficult. It's like you're sitting on a chair and you are given another chair. So you get up from there to there. And I was thinking about it. What does that mean? Means Suddha Sattva is there. Super soul is not like a, floating or like a no shelter. No, Suddha Sattva is there. The pure existence is there, but it is not mentioned. It doesn't have to, but it is clearly says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sandini Sharangsha Suddha Sattva Nam Bhagavaner Vishram hoy jahate. Bhagavaner Sattva hoy jahate Vishram. The Bhagavan or Vishnu Tattva, they always exist in a Suddha Sattva. So that's the comfort. Just like Gororo carries Vishnu. Now Vishnu is everywhere. Why Gororo has to carry? Well, but when you say you met the Lord, he came down. The Gororo is already there, but it may not be mentioned. It may mention the Lord appeared. So like that. The soul is also carried by the prana.
So you're saying that the prana, but it sounds like you're saying that prana is spiritual. I've always understood that prana is material, subtle but material.
No, that's the air. Life air of your existence, how you exist in the spirit, in the material domain, that represent also by the prana. Whether you are demigod or in hell or heaven or in Brahmaloka, they all have a prana. Prana is a carrier.
Yeah, prana means life air, right?
Not life air like oxygen.
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm saying prana being the carrier of the soul. I've always understood that prana is subtle material energy.
No, but the airs, they are material, but prana is very subtle, spiritual, directly connected with the breath. There's a mukha prana. These are all spiritual. Mukha prana, like Hanumanji, he's a manifestation of mukha prana.
Okay, wait a minute. Are you making distinction between prana and life airs?
When we say life air, people, we may have a misunderstanding. Life
no,
air
I'm
is
not
like
talking about like oxygen, nitrogen. I'm not saying like that. No, I'm talking about the thing in the material body that enables, the various functions to happen.
Various function that happens because of the prana. Yes.
Yeah, which is life airs, isn't it?
No, not life air. Soul exists on that prana.
Okay, so this prana, you're making distinction between prana and life airs. And correct. I'm always hearing, and is often prana is all, I've always heard prana translated as life airs.
It can translate. It can translate. Just like a, marble, when it's carved into deity form, and you do prana pratishtha. Prana pratishtha means you invited Lord. The Lord has entered into this marble. Now, is it marble? No.
Mhm.
And that is not a life air, in material sense. It is prana pratishtha means you invited, the Lord accepted. Now he's going to act. Actually, that marble can walk. Just like Shakshi Gopal's story. The Lord
Yes.
walked
Yes.
from Vrindavan to. So like that. It's very subtle, but thank you. You are very diligently, very thoughtful, very nice.
I'm
That's
just
very,
trying to get some clarity, Prabhu. That's all.
yeah,
I'm just trying
yeah.
to get
No,
clarity.
this is very nice, very, very nice.
Mhm.
Generally, most of the devotee don't think sometimes like that. But thank you for picking up that point.
Mhm.
This is very subtle. Yes, very nice.
Okay,
And I hope,
I know we don't have time, but maybe another time you can explain further for me because I'm still fuzzy.
sure. How it's originated, how it's going to end when you develop love for Krishna. Just like the spiritual body, you have spiritual body. Yes, you have a spiritual body. So, like all these example, Prabhupada says that material mind is like a gloves. The soul, not the, now the gloves is an example, but it's not exactly like that. If you like take off the gloves, then your spiritual hand is there. Not exactly like that, but that's a metaphor Prabhupada gave, and so we have to take it that way. I may have a human body. I could be monkey in Vrindavan in my original swarup. So not necessarily exactly same thing, gloves example. But this helps us. Prabhupada gives that example. Thank you for bringing that point.
So Hare Krishna, Hare Bol Prabhu.
Yes.
You got me thinking about prana too.
Good.
So maybe this will help it out a little bit. When we're referring to prana, we're saying that it has a life force. It's an energy. So an energy doesn't have to be as an element. When it's energy, it's a vital energy. It's a breath of life. It gives us function.
Correct.
So,
like a cell phone.
Yeah.
Like a Zoom.
So
Zoom, you are talking to me,
right,
and we are communicating.
right.
Now, as soon as it's off, the Zoom may be there.
Mm-hmm.
If I disappear from here, the Zoom is there, but there is no communication. But the communication is not material. In a one sense, it is all material.
Right.
Because the Zoom, the product of fire, the computer, but the conscious being, if it is absence, then everything is material.
Right. So when it leaves, when the life force leaves the body, like the material energy, then it's dead. It's no longer. The vital
Material
energy,
body is dead. Material
Yes.
body is dead, but
the
prana is
material
still
body is
there with
dead.
the soul.
The prana
Yeah.
is still there.
Yes.
All right. Absolutely. Does that help a little bit, Prabhu?
Yeah,
Yes.
I wonder if so. And the prana is still there when we go back. Is it the same prana that's there when we go back to Godhead? Same.
Once you revive your spiritual body,
Mm-hmm.
there is a transition, just like a simultaneously it will happen.
Mm.
And when you experience this, please come back and tell us.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, I'm still not satisfied, but okay.
Because Narad Muni asked, Vyasdev asked Narad Muni,
Mhm.
can you give us the idea like how you got this spiritual body and you had the material body before? When did it happen? He says simultaneously. I dropped the material and got the spiritual. Well, can you give explanation? I don't know if there is a possibility to give more explanation so much. But best they've accepted it. Okay, that's what it is. Simultaneously it takes place. Prana drops as soon you got the spiritual body. Now, did prana stayed here in the material world or other? It's like a very difficult to calculate. Very
Right.
difficult. But thank you. This is a very nice
Jai.
meditation on prana. Thank you. Mother Aroni, is it very short? Because I have to attend another class quickly.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Both of them, caused me to be curious. And so when Vishnu Dutta come, they're here to take the soul. So they take the soul with the prana.
You got infected with the prana too. Nice.
Yeah.
Mother, spiritual body is complete. When we talk about spiritual body, it has its own mind. So material mind, you will hear sometime like a Prabhupada said, it will be destroyed. Material mind will be purified. I mean, all are correct. Because we really don't have access on the mind. Mind is like imposed on us. So we really don't have clue unless, you are directly watching exactly how it happens when the spiritual body awakens, what will happen to the prana, what will happen to the material mind. I mean, now you have a spiritual mind. Did it like a destroyed? You can say that. It's nothing harm. Did it get purified? You can say that too. It's no harm. Because only thing you can do is detect yourself. Am I attracted to Krishna? Means material things are going. More we are attracted to Krishna consciousness. More we are talking about Krishna. That means material things are dissolving. Dissolve, the word dissolve is nothing destroyed actually. No energy is destroyed. It just transformed.
Jai.
So prana, it's like a, now don't be judgmental. I mean, I know you're not going to be like, who decide which soul going to go to which universe? It says that Mahavishnu actually glanced, not like randomly we all came to this planet. Not like this. It is actually, he knows everything. Which soul will go, which universe, and each universe has a particular amount of soul. It's unlimited, but still there is an amount that Mahavishnu knows. And every soul can never get out, mothers and prabhus, until is purified. Never can get out. Even when Brahmaji is 100 years over, you are not getting out. You are being placed in a lingam. Goes back to the Mahavishnu's body. You are still within. And when the new creation starts, then all the facility comes. Then Krishna enters in the heart of every soul again. And then they remember, oh, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do this. All this, like a pups, pups. Like when you wake up, we have some experience. During sleep, you don't have understanding where you are, what happened. You deep sleep, you forget even existed. Or in a dream, you go somewhere. And when you wake up, oh, I have to take care of this car problem, or I have to go to temple. It's like everything refreshed. So similar like that. You will not talk, what happened to my prana? Now I'm in the spiritual one. No, you will not talk. There is no talk about that. These things all will be like disappear. It's very mystical.
Jai.
Okay. Yeah, because we normally say that when the soul leaves the body, the body is dead. So now we'll say this: the carrier of the soul is the prana, and they both go together.
Correct. Well, not only them. There are 5 other things goes with you. Your desire goes with you. Your bad credit. I mean, I'm sorry to disappoint you. But anything I do bad, it's also going with me. Next life, I have to pay for it by experience. So it's not just so prana means it's shelter of the soul and all these 5 other things.
No, what are all the 5 other things?
That will be next week. Others will be here whole night.
I was just
Hare
pushing my
Krishna.
luck. I was just
Jai.
pushing my luck.
Yeah. Thank you.
Haribol.
You already
Haribol.
mentioned 3, so I figured I could go for the other 2.
That will be a good topics actually next Wednesday for this. Or
Jai.
maybe tomorrow we'll throw it if you join in the Gopal Champu.
I hate to say goodbye before you hang up, you know, because I want to get to Bhakti Mark Swami's Vyasa Puja celebration. So,
Oh,
Hare
is it
Krishna.
today?
Yes.
Oh,
It's-
wonderful.
it
Please
started
give my
at-
regards.
It started
love
at
Maharaj.
6:30. Jai,
Please give my
Haribol. I
regards.
sure will. I
Thank you.
definitely will. Hare
Hare
Haribol.
Krishna, Hare
Regards-
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhyo patitanam Vaishnavebhyo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.